Welcome back everybody to plantKEmistry's channel, and today we are going to be discussing the different types of moss poles that me and Caitlin use in rotation when it comes to our plants. All right, so let's get into it. We are going to start with the mesh fencing. This can be found at Lowe's. We like to use this pole because of how customizable it is. We have small plants in small pots with small poles, and we have plants that are this size with medium-sized poles, and we have plants that are bigger with bigger poles. We really love the mesh fencing because of the sizing up or the sizing down when it comes to the plant or the pot that it's in. Next, we have, I like to call it the cable hider pole. This can be found at Lowe's as well at the electrical section. So these come a lot longer. So what you're gonna have to do if you buy these, you're gonna have to cut them down the size. You're gonna have to saw them down the size. But I like these in particular because it holds more humidity. It holds more moisture, especially if you're using some type of wrapping tape of some sort. It's going to help those aerial roots root into the moss a lot quicker because it's holding that moisture. And finally, we have our Mythos 3D design moss poles. It's a company based out of London. They sell a ton of 3D printed moss poles, moss pole accessories, and a bunch of 3D printed plant accessories for your plants. We're going to start out with the XL line moss pole. It has the option of a slow drip cap and two different types of stakes, followed by the semi-D shape moss pole. This is something that I recently got and I'm really excited for because it has the clear back. I added a slow drip to it, and I also added a stake. And what I love most about it is these poles fit really well within aeroid pots. It's almost like they made them for these aeroid pots. Not only that, I have a bigger version of the demi-D shaped moss pole behind me. It would be a honeycomb pattern extra large D-shaped moss pole. These are the three different plants that we are going to be repotting today and putting on a Mythos 3 design pole. We are going to start with Philodendron Verrucosum Amazonis, followed by Philodendron Verrucosum Carmen. And lastly, this is a cross. This would be Philodendron Verrucosum Red Emerald. These are the products that I like to use. These are the products that me and Caitlin swear by. It would be these products or nothing. First, we have Cloud Forest Mix. Very good at retaining moisture, resembles soil in a weird way, but has a lot of nutrients that you need within your substrate. And sphagnum moss, followed by perlite. You can't go wrong with sphagnum moss, and I like to use sphagnum moss with perlite because it creates perfect airflow within the medium, and it also allows it to stay wet and not rot. So let's get into stuffing these moss poles and getting these plants into a new home. What I really like about the Mythos 3 design poles that a lot of people probably can compare to is when you're stuffing the pole, the moss has a tendency to come out the bottom, and the Mythos 3 pole has kind of a net at the bottom that stops that from happening. Makes it very easy to pack. I like to pack it as much as I can. I really enjoy packing it to the point where the moss kind of comes out of the face of the pole. I always wet my sphagnum moss before packing my pole. I also like to leave an air pocket or two depending on how big the pole is, so that way you don't have any issue with mold, excessive moisture. I got the olive green color from my moss pole. It complements the brown moss well. Helps show me when it needs to be watered, which is really helpful, useful in a way. This would be the finished product. Do a quick size up. It's perfect. Next, we are going to fill my pot up with Cloud Forest Mix by Brittany at Brittany's Urban Oasis. Now I'm using Cloud Forest Mix for this Verrucosum Red Emerald because it was clearly shipped to me in soil, and I want to try and replicate that medium as much as possible so I don't have to deal with a lot of shock. This stuff kind of stresses me out, guys. I hate taking plants out of their pot. I just don't have a good experience with it sometimes. So usually in situations like this, I wouldn't disturb the medium that it's in, just to reduce the transplant shock. Plants have a tendency to get angry when you mess with their roots too much. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of the layers off of soil, and I'm going to then put in the Cloud Force. That'd be enough. Y'all like my pink scooper? Me and Caitlin got this at the Equigenera event this weekend. We drove about 6 hours to get there. We got to meet a lot of great people, a lot of great vendors. We got to speak to a lot of people, exchange numbers, get great advice. It was fun. It was really fun. We had a blast. So right now I'm just trying to size everything up, get it as perfect as I can at the height that I want it. Make sure you pack it well, have everything stable. And there you have it. Voila. So lastly, the last thing I'm going to do is gonna grab some grafting tape, and I'm just gonna wrap the aerial roots so that way the plant is pinned to the pole. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna help create moisture within the pole and the grafting tape, which is going to promote aerial roots. So what I like to do is add some pieces of wet spag around the aerial root to help guide it into the pole as we grafting tape it.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
slow dripper. Holds about 250 milliliters of water. I am doing Philodendron Verrucosum Carmenex. This makes me so nervous, guys. Always repotting any plant.
And you just repotted her kind of recently.
Yeah, and I definitely did just repot her, but she's showing good signs of everything, roots and all. So we're gonna add some perlite for aeration. Mix it in. You don't want to add too much perlite. You don't want it to be too airy. You want it to at least hold some type of moisture. So when it comes to potting Verrucosums in spag, I find it to be better suiting for the aerial roots. It's very fluffy, it holds that moisture that Verrucosums enjoy, and it's easy for the roots to work its way around as they begin to grow. That one root did not want to go in. This guy. Yeah. I would use the scooper, but the scooper is filled with cloud force mix. So I'm just gonna make a mess instead. All right, now that we have pole propped up straight, let's continue to pack her. Try my hardest not to disturb the roots. Make sure she's in the position that I need her to be in. While keeping that pole stable.
Those Mythos poles always fit so nicely in those pots.
they always fit perfectly in these aeroid pots. It's perfect. It's always a perfect fit. They look aesthetically pleasing. And it makes watering your moss poles very easy. The fact that it comes with the slow dripper. So now that we have the plant in its vessel, it's time to wrap it with grafting tape. Get a little bit of pieces of sphagnum moss so we can get ready to wrap her.
I was gonna say top one first.
I'm not sure, honestly.
Oh.
I don't see many aerial roots at the bottom.
I would do it in the middle right there.
Yeah, we could just wrap it in the middle, babe. And
No sphagnum?
no sphagnum. Wrap it just to pin it.
We'll undo that when that growth point pops out.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you, baby.
No.
Ta-da! Finishing product.
Yeah.
Slow drip. Gotta give it a second.
It's fresh.
Yeah, it hasn't been broken in yet. It's fresh. There we go. Usually if there's debris within your drip cap or around your drip cap, it won't drip. So make sure if you do get a moss pole with a drip cap, you don't have debris around it.